Welcome back. You're watching Newslink here on eNCA. For more on former President Jacob Zuma's legal bid to stay out of prison, we're joined by political analyst eNCA. eNCA, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, one would assume that there's no room for politics in a legal matter, but we are seeing the country dominated by a sort of a shift in the political landscape, and I wonder how much of a shift and fracture in the ruling party.
So far, what it's been is a posturing by a grouping that is attempting to stifle the execution of the court order. And it's something that is a threat to democracy and stability in the country, eNCA. Practices like these are known to happen in areas where armed militia want to claim a control over a certain territory. And the due categorization that we make of those kinds of things is that they threaten the internal sovereignty of a government, especially a democratic government. So it's a national security threat, especially where you saw people, firing assault rifles or demonstrating assault rifles, among other things. So it's really a cause for concern.
I mean, yesterday...
They haven't recruited me.
I'm sorry, eNCA.
Sorry, please proceed, eNCA.
I mean, we saw yesterday at eNCA suspended ANC Secretary General Ace Makashula. We saw Tony Yangeni on the stage with Mr. Zuma. How much political collateral does the former president actually have?
That's quite interesting. So his popularity rating at the time of being fired from government was hovering around the 20s in terms of percentage. Obviously, that's polling data, but it is an important indicator. So that popularity is actually among certain factions of the ANC and among rented crowds. Take no mistake, he still has got some, following, but I doubt that it is to the extent that has been framed by his followers.
Do you think that President Ramaphosa should be more visible at this time? I mean, he sent out a letter this morning, as he does every Monday morning, his letter to the nation, and he spoke about the economy and mining. Do you think this is a time when he should step forward and show a little bit more decisive leadership, or is it correct for him to step back and let legal action take its course?
Yeah, I think his approach is simply this, that he doesn't want to enter the fray so as to prove the saying by Jacob Zuma and his supporters that this was political. So he's staying out of it, and wants for him, he wants to position the matter to be seen to be a judicial process. But part of it also has to do with the fact that in the ANC, he doesn't want to be seen to be taking action in a way that can actually cause him to upset some internal power brokers internally. So I think it's a combination of factors. I do think that when the time is right, or in fact, even if as tensions were seen to be escalating, it was important for the voice from the president that reaffirms commitment to the rule of law, even without actually entering the fray in terms of the modalities of the issues, at least not until yesterday, when President Zuma would be clearly in defiance of the constitutional court order.
I mean, the KZN Premier said he was hoping for a solution that could lead to no violence and that it would be as peaceful as possible. Do you think that Jacob Zuma has been treated with kid gloves and that the police are reluctant to get involved outside in Nkandla and certainly address those crowds?
It's a crisis. I think that ordinary police men and women would be concerned about how free they are to act against him, especially seeing what's happening outside his house. And I think that some degree of being circumspect is allowed from a crisis and risk management perspective. Obviously, you don't want to get there and cause tensions to escalate to the extent that there's another Marikana, which, by the way, the Zuma faction has nothing to lose if it happens, because for them they would be continuing on a decampaigning campaign, which they started long ago. So it's not, but it's important for senior people within the police and the executive to actually ensure that the right action that needs to be taken is taken. You're quite right on him being treated with kid gloves, but the point that I'm making is that part of it has got to do with very sensible risk management and prevention of things turning into outblown conflict over there. Obviously, President Zuma is going to need to go somewhere. He's not going to be locked up in Nkandla forever. The state will have time to actually act against him when the risks are not that high. When that is, I think that it is better sometimes, instead of acting in a foolhardy way and see conflict and bloodshed, sometimes it's better to buy time and act when those risks can be minimized.
Political analyst Ongama Mtinka, thank you as always for your astute analysis.